Are you doing everything right with your food? Avoiding sugar, watching carbs, eating vegetables, but your blood sugar is still high? Then the problem might not be what you eat, but what you drink. Many drinks look healthy, feel refreshing, or even say sugar-free on the label, but they could be silently destroying your blood sugar control, triggering insulin spikes, and making your type 2 diabetes worse without you realizing it. In this video, I'll reveal the 5 worst drinks for people with type 2 diabetes, based on real science. These are drinks that might seem innocent, even recommended by some influencers or diet books, but they're actually some of the most damaging things you can put in your body if you're trying to reverse insulin resistance. And at the end, I'll also show you what to drink instead. Simple swaps that will help you flatten your blood sugar, reduce your A1C, and feel in control again. But first, let me ask you this. Have you ever started your morning with a glass of orange juice, a smoothie, or a coffee drink, and then felt tired, irritable, or even hungrier an hour later? That's not normal. That's your blood sugar crashing after a massive spike. It's a cycle millions of diabetics fall into every day, because the drinks they rely on are working against them. So let's break that cycle now. Let's begin with the first and maybe most surprising drink on this list. The one that's often called natural, rich in vitamins, and even part of a healthy breakfast. I'm talking about fruit juice. Yes, even the ones that say 100% juice or no added sugar on the label. Apple juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, grape juice, it doesn't matter. Once the fiber is removed from the fruit, all you're left with is liquid sugar. And that sugar hits your bloodstream like a tidal wave. You see, when you eat a whole piece of fruit, like an orange, the fiber slows down digestion. Your body processes the natural sugars more gradually, and your insulin has time to respond. But when you drink the juice, there's no fiber, no delay. It goes straight into your bloodstream. And because fruit juice is made from multiple fruits, not just one, you're getting the sugar of 4 or 5 oranges in one glass. Let's look at the numbers. 1 glass of orange juice has around 25 grams of sugar. That's over 6 teaspoons of pure sugar. That's actually more than a Coca-Cola of the same size. And it's all fructose, which your liver has to convert. If your liver is already insulin resistant, that fructose turns into triglycerides and fat. It also raises your blood sugar, especially if you drink it on an empty stomach. This is why so many people with type 2 diabetes wake up with high fasting blood sugar, drink a glass of juice thinking it's healthy, and then get a second glucose spike before breakfast even begins. And don't be fooled by the labels that say no added sugar. Natural sugar is still sugar. Whether it's squeezed from fruit or poured from a bag, your pancreas reacts the same way. Even homemade juice can be a problem if you're not careful. It might feel fresher, but without fiber, it still causes the same spike. So here's the takeaway. If you have type 2 diabetes, avoid fruit juice completely, even natural, organic, or homemade versions. They're nothing more than blood sugar bombs in disguise. If you really crave the taste, blend a whole piece of fruit with vegetables and water into a smoothie, but don't squeeze or strain it. Keep all the fiber. Or better yet, start your day with water, herbal tea, or a splash of lemon juice in warm water. These options support hydration, digestion, and metabolic function, without sending your glucose into chaos. In the next section, we're going to talk about a drink that many people believe is harmless, even elegant. It's sold in coffee shops everywhere. It has a creamy texture, a sweet taste, and a comforting feel. But for people with diabetes, it's one of the most dangerous ways to start your day. I'm talking about those flavored coffee drinks, lattes, cappuccinos, iced mochas, caramel macchiatos, and even the ones labeled skinny or light. Because inside that coffee cup, there's a hidden insulin spike waiting to hit you fast and hard. We'll cover that next. But before we move on, I want you to pause for a second. Think about your own morning routine. Are you unknowingly drinking sugar before you even eat anything? Is your body getting flooded with glucose before you have a chance to burn it? This small change, removing juice, could lower your blood sugar by 20, 30, even 50 points over time. For many people, this one decision changes everything, and we're just getting started. Let's go to the next drink, and the next blood sugar trap to avoid. Let's now talk about a drink that's often seen as sophisticated, comforting, or even part of a healthy morning ritual. I'm talking about flavored coffee drinks, those creamy lattes, cappuccinos, and iced coffees that feel like a warm hug at the start of the day. You may think, it's just coffee. How bad can it be? But the truth is, most flavored coffee drinks are loaded with sugar, milk, and insulin-spiking ingredients that can completely sabotage your blood sugar, especially if you drink them on an empty stomach. Let's break it down. The typical coffee shop latte contains 2 or 3 pumps of flavored syrup, full-fat or low-fat milk, whipped cream or sweet toppings, and sometimes even hidden sweeteners in the espresso mix. Even a medium-sized vanilla latte can contain over 35 grams of sugar. That's 9 teaspoons of sugar in 1 cup. Some seasonal drinks have over 50 grams, which is more than you should consume in 2 entire days. But it doesn't stop there. Milk itself, especially skim or low-fat milk, has a naturally high glycemic load for diabetics. It's full of lactose, which converts quickly into glucose. Combine that with sweet syrups and creamy foam, and you're basically drinking dessert for breakfast. And here's the worst part. Many people drink these first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, without any fiber or fat to slow the absorption. That means your body gets hit with a massive blood sugar spike, followed by a crash, and then cravings and fatigue for the rest of the day. It sets off a roller coaster that makes it much harder to control your diabetes. Even the skinny, light, or sugar-free versions aren't safe. They often contain artificial sweeteners, which we'll talk about later, and they still use milk, which triggers insulin even without added sugar. So what's the solution? If you enjoy coffee, keep it simple. Use black coffee, or add a splash of unsweetened almond milk or coconut milk. Avoid syrups, whipped cream, and flavored creamers. And never drink coffee by itself on an empty stomach. Always pair it with a low-carb breakfast to stabilize your glucose. Now, let's move on to the third worst drink for diabetics, and it's one that's become very popular in health circles. Smoothies. Yes, the drink that's supposed to be healthy, energizing, and packed with nutrients. But here's the reality. Most smoothies are nothing more than blended sugar bombs. Let me explain why. A typical fruit smoothie contains 1 or 2 bananas, a handful of berries or mango, a cup of milk or sweetened yogurt, a spoonful of honey, dates, or protein powder, and maybe a splash of juice or coconut water. That combination may sound healthy, but it's a blood sugar disaster. Why? Because it combines fast-digesting carbohydrates, low fiber, natural sugars, and often no fat or protein. That means your body absorbs the sugar extremely quickly, and your blood glucose rises fast and high. Even smoothies with healthy ingredients can be harmful if you don't structure them correctly. For example, bananas are high in sugar and low in fiber. Fruit juices or coconut water add liquid sugar. Yogurt often contains added sugars unless labeled plain and unsweetened. Honey and dates spike glucose as much as table sugar. And worst of all, most people drink smoothies without chewing, without slowing down, and often in large quantities. That makes your digestive system absorb the sugars even faster. So even though it feels like you're making a healthy choice, your body reacts like you just ate cake for breakfast. Now, to be clear, not all smoothies are bad. If you want to enjoy a smoothie without spiking your blood sugar, here's how to fix it. Use a base of water or unsweetened almond milk. Add leafy greens like spinach or kale. Include high-fiber ingredients like chia seeds or avocado. Use a small amount of low-glycemic fruit, like half a green apple or a few berries. Add healthy fat or protein, like almond butter or plant-based protein powder. When made right, a smoothie can become a balanced meal that supports blood sugar control, not sabotage it. But 90% of the smoothies people drink, especially from cafes, juice bars, or online recipes, are built for taste, not for health. And for someone with type 2 diabetes, They can do more harm than good. So what's the bottom line? If you're drinking smoothies, take full control of what goes inside. Never trust pre-made options and never assume fruit are healthy. Because without balance, you're just drinking sugar, and your blood sugar numbers will show it. We've now covered fruit juices, flavored coffee drinks, and most commercial smoothies, 3 of the most common traps diabetics fall into. But what if you're doing everything right, avoiding sugar, and still struggling? What if the drinks that say 0 sugar or sugar-free on the label are the ones keeping you stuck? That's exactly what we'll cover next. Because in the next section, we'll reveal the truth about artificial sweeteners, diet sodas, and 0 drinks that promise health, but may be silently spiking your insulin. Stay with me. This part may change the way you look at your drinks forever. You've made the switch. You gave up juice, cut out sweetened coffee, and you've even started checking smoothie ingredients. Now you reach for drinks that say sugar-free, 0, or no calories. You feel like you're doing the right thing. But what if I told you that these diet drinks, the ones that promise no sugar and no calories, could still be spiking your insulin, confusing your metabolism, and keeping you stuck in the cycle of insulin resistance? Let's talk about the 4th worst drink for diabetics: sugar-free sodas and 0 drinks. These drinks are everywhere: diet colas, 0 sugar energy drinks, flavored sparkling waters, and more. They use artificial sweeteners like aspartame sucralose, acesulfame potassium, saccharin. They contain no sugar and technically no calories. So what's the problem? Here's the truth. Your body is not fooled. Studies show that even though these sweeteners don't contain sugar, they still trigger a response from your brain and pancreas. When your tongue senses sweetness, your brain expects calories, and your pancreas may release insulin in anticipation, even when no sugar arrives. This creates a mismatch, and that mismatch can increase cravings, raise insulin levels unnecessarily, disrupt your body's ability to regulate real sugar when it finally arrives, and over time, worsen insulin resistance. One study from Yale University found that artificial sweeteners may actually increase the body's response to sugar later in the day, making real carbs more dangerous because the insulin system is already primed. Other research links artificial sweeteners to higher risk of metabolic syndrome, disrupted gut microbiome, increased hunger, altered taste perception. And even though these drinks may not raise your blood sugar directly, they can raise your insulin, which over time leads to more fat storage, more resistance, and more difficulty losing weight. This is especially true for people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, who already struggle with high insulin levels. So even though you're not drinking sugar, you're still stimulating the insulin system, and possibly making it worse. And there's something else. People who drink diet sodas tend to feel like they're being good, which leads them to overeat in other areas. It's a psychological effect. You save sugar in one place and then unconsciously add it back somewhere else. This doesn't mean everyone must avoid artificial sweeteners forever. But if your goal is to reverse insulin resistance and get off the blood sugar roller coaster, switching from regular soda to diet soda is not enough. The better choice is to break the dependency on sweet taste altogether. Instead of 0 drinks, try infused water with cucumber, lemon, mint, sparkling water with a splash of lime, herbal teas with no sweeteners, iced rooibos or hibiscus tea, plain water with cinnamon stick or ginger slices. These drinks don't confuse your insulin system, they hydrate you, and they actually support blood sugar control naturally. Now let's move to the 5th and final worst drink for diabetics. This one is sneaky. It doesn't come in a soda can or coffee cup. It hides behind wellness trends, colorful packaging, and words like detox, immune, or energize. I'm talking about sports drinks, vitamin waters, detox waters, and functional beverages. These drinks are marketed as healthy, but many are just sugar bombs in disguise. Let's break it down. Many sports drinks, like those designed for hydration or electrolyte replacement, contain up to 30 grams of sugar per bottle, even if they taste mild. That's more than some soft drinks. Some contain maltodextrin, a hidden carbohydrate that spikes blood sugar even faster than glucose. Others use fruit concentrates, agave syrup, or honey, all of which raise your blood sugar rapidly, despite being labeled natural. And detox waters or vitamin waters. Most are flavored with sugars, natural flavors, and synthetic vitamins that do nothing for blood sugar. The word detox sounds healthy, but there's no scientific basis for it. Your liver and kidneys detox your body, not a plastic bottle of sweet water. Even energy drinks labeled zero are a problem. Many contain caffeine, artificial sweeteners, preservatives, and chemicals that may elevate cortisol, your stress hormone, which in turn can spike blood sugar. So what's the pattern? Health washing. That's when a product uses language like clean, plant-based, natural, or immune boosting. But in reality, it still contains ingredients that hurt your metabolism. You need to go deeper than the label. Look at the ingredients. Ask yourself, will this drink help me control blood sugar, or will it confuse my body, trigger insulin, or add to the inflammation I'm trying to reduce? In short, if the drink has a bright color, a long shelf life, and a list of more than 5 ingredients, be cautious. So what are the best options instead? The most powerful drinks for blood sugar control are clean water, herbal infusions, fermented teas like kombucha, only if sugar-free, unsweetened almond milk, green tea, or even diluted apple cider vinegar with meals, if tolerated. None of them are flashy. None are sold with loud promises. But they work, because they let your insulin system rest, not react. We've now covered all 5 worst drinks: fruit juices, flavored coffees, unhealthy smoothies, diet sodas, and fake healthy beverages. But how do you actually take back control? How do you start reprogramming your body after years of spikes and crashes? That's what we'll talk about in the final block. Because I want to show you how real people, just like you, are lowering their blood sugar naturally every day, and it all starts with what you do next. Let's take a moment and step back, because now you know the truth, the kind of truth that most people never hear, and that no product label will ever tell you. You've seen how 5 common drinks, things that seem harmless, familiar, or even healthy, are quietly working against your body, pushing your blood sugar higher, day after day, without you realizing it. Let's recap. You learned that fruit juice, even when it's 100% natural, is nothing more than concentrated liquid sugar, stripped of its fiber, slammed into your bloodstream, and causing a spike just as dangerous as soda. You saw how flavored coffee drinks, the lattes, mochas, cappuccinos, and seasonal treats, are loaded with milk sugars, hidden syrups, and insulin-spiking ingredients that turn your morning routine into a metabolic disaster. You discovered how most smoothies, despite their healthy image, combine high-sugar fruits, sweetened yogurt, and zero fiber, creating a sugar surge that your body isn't prepared to handle. You found out that diet sodas and sugar-free drinks aren't free at all. They may not contain sugar, but they confuse your brain, trigger insulin anyway, and over time, contribute to even more insulin resistance. And finally, you exposed the truth about sports drinks, vitamin waters, detox drinks, and functional beverages, products that pretend to help you, but actually flood your body with hidden sugars, additives, or chemicals that derail your progress. And if you're living with type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, or insulin resistance, every single one of these drinks can make things worse. But here's what matters most right now. You're not stuck. You're not broken. And your condition is not out of your control. Because every time you say no to these hidden sugar traps, and every time you choose a drink that supports your body, you take back power. You lower your blood sugar. You improve your insulin sensitivity. You reduce inflammation. You calm your cravings. You give your pancreas a break. And you start building a future where diabetes doesn't control you, because you control it. And the best part? You don't need to do anything extreme. You don't need to eliminate everything you love. You don't need to follow a rigid diet. You just need to start with one decision. One bottle you don't buy. One habit you replace. One glass of clean water instead of a sugary trap. And if you do that again tomorrow, and the next day, everything starts to shift. Because when your blood sugar stabilizes, your energy comes back. Your mood lifts. Your sleep improves. Your cravings fade. You stop being a prisoner to food and drinks, and you start feeling in control. Maybe for the first time in years. Thousands of people are already doing it. Quietly, naturally, one smart habit at a time. And if you want to see what's helping them succeed, how they're flattening their glucose spikes, lowering their A1C, and even reversing type 2 diabetes naturally, the answer is waiting for you in the description. If this video gave you clarity, don't just watch it and forget it. Take action. Try one change. Feel the difference. Then share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because chances are, you know someone who's drinking one of these 5 things right now, without realizing the damage it's doing. And if this message helps you, it might help them too. Subscribe if you want more natural, science-based strategies to regain control of your health. Not temporary fixes, but lasting change. Because your future doesn't have to be built on pills, fear, and frustration. It can be built on knowledge, on action, and on choices that heal. And it starts with what's in your glass, right now.